Alright, so I want to make a quick tip video so that you're able to squat more weight and get set up underneath the barbell. This is something that I've been messing around with, and every once in a while when I unrack the barbell off the squat rack and place it on my back, sometimes it feels heavy, sometimes it feels light. And what I mean by that is I'll have 275 pounds on the barbell, and I'll unrack the weight. Sometimes it feels extremely heavy, sometimes it feels extremely light. It just kind of depends on where it sits. It depends on the position of where it sits on my body. It might depend on how I'm feeling that day. It could depend on the flexibility of my shoulders because of all these different issues. But one of the things that I've kind of put the thought and put into words to maybe help you lift better if you're having trouble getting a heavy squat or just set up properly or just need a different way of kind of improving yourself, making yourself stronger, is that when you get underneath the bar and you pinch your shoulder blades together and you get super, super tight, so that way you get underneath the bar, the one thing that I do, or have been doing a lot more lately in my setup routine for a squat, is to position myself so that it digs in the low bar position, because as a power lifter, for powerlifting you want it to sit as low as you can where you have good control, and you want to make sure that your hips and core are locked in tight. This is pretty obvious, right? But the second part is that you want to make sure that when you dig yourself underneath the bar, you want it to sink in with at least 80 to 90% of the weight on your back. And what it means is that when you get underneath the bar, you want to position it so it's tight, obvious, right? But one of the reasons why I've had trouble with consistency with getting that bar set up on my back is sometimes I'll unrack it too quickly. And when I unrack it too quickly, what happens is I don't have enough of the weight on my back. And what I simply mean by that is it's sort of like when you yank a very heavy deadlift off the ground. If you lift 80%, or if you lift like 90% of your one repetition max, if you yank it really hard, a deadlift, right, it will typically pitch you forward. And if you grind it out and you're super strong and you really push yourself for that repetition, you'll grind through that pitch. So you pull the bar and it pitches you forward. So it's the same idea with this. When you get underneath the bar and you don't have enough of the load on your back before you unrack the barbell, what will happen is that it will essentially dig into your back. You'll come up too quick without having enough of the weight on your back. And I know that might be a little bit kind of difficult to maybe visualize, but I just want you to think of pushing the bar into your back and essentially dig the bar into your back and then unrack the weight just a little bit slowly, so that way, don't unrack the weight slowly, I want you to unrack it fast, but unrack it so that it sinks into your back with about 85 to 90% of the weight. Let's say you have 300 pounds on there, 80 to 90% of the weight on your back. It's on there, right? You're pressing on it, you're setting up, you're tight, right? And then use that last 10% to unrack it. So that way, when you unrack it, it's not going to sink in any lower. And what kind of happens to me, or what my experience has been, is that sometimes what will happen is I will have maybe 50% of myself underneath it, or 50% of my force underneath the bar. And then I'll get ready, I'm tight in my shoulders, and then I unrack the weight. Then my other 50% comes up, and then I step back, and it feels extremely heavy. And that's simple. And the reason why that happens is because my core, my nervous system isn't quite ready for the load. So it's almost like you're about to unrack the bar off the weight, but only with about 90% of the force required. So let's say you have, let's just say 400 pounds on the bar, right? And then you get yourself underneath the bar and you press your upper back into it, right, in the position that you're going to squat in, and you push with a force of about 390 pounds, something like that, or maybe 380 pounds, which means that the bar is not going to come off, right? And then as soon as you're ready, you give that last 10 pounds up, and you tighten up, and then you step back. And this will make it so that your ability of being set up tight is nice and secure, and that the weight is kind of expected. Because if you only push with 50%, so let's say you push up with 200 pounds of force, right? And then you finish off, but before you unrack the weight, you push another 200 pounds up and then unrack the weight. It's going to feel really heavy because you didn't preload yourself, sort of like preloading with a very heavy deadlift. If this doesn't make sense, please leave a comment below. I'm trying to explain this. This is somewhat very difficult. It's easier to do than it is to explain. If no one understands, I'll make a video and show you guys. Anyways, thanks for watching. Click like if this video is useful for you, or thumbs down if it doesn't make any sense. Make a comment. Maybe I can make a better one. Thanks for watching.